Justin, good morning, Early start. So I'm supposed to, I should just sit here and wait for the top of the hour, should I? Jacques is here. It's good morning or good evening. Late night for you, is it? Look at this. Look at all the gang here today. Mystery topic today, yes. Okay, we get a good one today. I know, well, whatever. It's not so much about printmaking. I got two jobs facing me this morning. And one of them is actually part of an announcement too. We received from our young printer, Yamamoto-san. He came over last night. And we have the next batch, the first full batch completed finally, after 3 years, 2.5 years after I carved the block. We have the first batch of prints ready from the Young Man Shakes Heaven design. This has been a real, what's the word? It's been a real, a hard road to get this one done. They're finally ready. Actually, it's something I should have prepared to show you. Hang on a second, let me get another batch here. One moment. The story on this one rolls back. You know, we got that movie, the documentary movie that was made about our work. It was in 2 years ago. I don't even remember. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. They came and they watched me carve the blocks for this, and it was real time stress. The guy was running around and I had to get the key block ready, and a week later the color blocks and blah, 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 blah. And we really rushed. I really had to rush through it. Once it was finished, he had a deal with us where he embargoed the print. He didn't want us to put the print into the market until his movie was ready, because he didn't want to spoil the ending of his movie. So we sat on the blocks for a year and a half. I don't even remember how long we sat on the blocks. Then we sort of gave up. It was clear he wasn't getting going on the movie. There was nothing happening with it. So Jed and I said, what the heck, let's just get this thing out into the world. So I got a batch of them done, and I made a real mistake. I didn't myself proof it. I just took the block set, sent it to Yamamoto-san, the young printer who's working with us, and gave him the color photocopy and said, go for it. And they came back unusable. If you sit there and look at it, whatever, it looks like a print, it might think it's okay, but we had a real problem with it. Jed does his layouts in Photoshop, and this is a Photoshop copy. And we've got things like this. There's a horse with a gray tone that deepens it. Then there's gray tones into the land, and then there's a skin tone with a gray tone that deepens it. And Jed had done in Photoshop, he had put this gray tone and the skin gray tone on the same layer in Photoshop, and they had worked quite well. But unfortunately, in the real world of wood and paper, it doesn't work the same way. And without thinking about it too much, I had copied his layering, and I had put the gray tone for the horse and the gray tone for the skin on the same block. But to get it deep enough to show on the horse, Yamamoto-san really deepened it, and it came out the gray on the boy is just too black. It just looks dirty instead of like a shadow. It maybe doesn't look so bad on the camera there, but it looks just, there's no way. It just doesn't look any good. So we took the batch of prints. I paid him for them anyway because he had used his time well. And we put them to bed. 120 prints, no good for sending. And then we moved on to other jobs. The Kickstarter campaign comes along. This one goes into Kickstarter. All of a sudden, we can't fool around anymore. We have to get it out into the market. So went back to Yamamoto-san, and this time really, really carefully. We talked about how to do this, and he got it done properly. The gray on the horse is there, and the skin has a shadow without being a dirty, mucky gray. And there's a bunch of other small issues that were there as well. He brought out really well some of the scratch carving on the ground, and he got good depth in the greenery going back. and the monster lurking out of the mist, which we don't print mist, of course. Mist is leftover paper. Anyway, long story short, here they are. They're going out to the backers right now. But first step, before they go out, I've got to put the name on them. And that's what we're doing today. I've got a board laid out. I don't know if you can see, it's going to focus here or not. How do I turn off touch? How do I get it to automatic? Auto, here we go. Auto. Hi. The focus? No idea. Anyway, it's there. It says Horiburu Suri Yamato Kenichi. Horiburu means carving by me and printing by Kubota-san. And that's an interesting story too. Kubota-san didn't print these. Kubota-san's workshop printed these. Young Yamamoto-kun works for Kubota-san, but he doesn't get his own name on the prints. That's the way things work. This is not evil. This is not lying. This is the way it works. So a young guy working in a workshop doesn't get his name on the stuff. The name that goes on is the master's name. Same thing with the paper that we get from Iwano-san. It's all marked as Iwano Ichibe. But these days he has basically nothing to do with it. He's the old guy sitting in the back room. Can you see this? Is it going to show? Oh, white on white. Nay, no idea. Anyway, it's there. What if I put this on? I can see it. I don't think you can see it. Anyway, enough of this. I got to get to work. I got to get this done. I'm going to pull it back farther. Let's ask Dave, what is this? What is this? Let me see this. There must be a way to get this embossing visible to show. There it is. There it is. Horiburu Suri Kubota Kenichi. Where am I going to put these? Chaos here this morning, absolute chaos. Okay, that's got the position right. Okay, away we go. I've got to moisten each one. I've got a little piece of rag here with just some water on top, so I've just got to slightly moisten it. If I try and do it on dry paper, the embossing doesn't take very long. So these will be mailed tonight, and we're going to send them to Ome this afternoon. And from Ome they go straight to Jed. In fact, we might send them to Jed directly from here. It doesn't need to go to Ome first. We'll just send them directly to Jed from here. The next step, Jed will put his signature and seal on them, and then out they go to the waiting Kickstarter backers. And they'll, of course, go into his web shop. This looks nice, you know. I'm really, really happy with this. It's been years since we've had a new Heroes print. When's the last one? About 2 years ago. And now we're going to have 6 of them. Bang, 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 bang in the next few months. I'm so glad we decided to put the Kickstarter back up. You know, get this series back to life again. Will the octopus be a Kickstarter or direct sale? No, there'll be no Kickstarter for the octopus. We don't need that. We're financing it ourselves. The purpose of Kickstarter is to, you know, get advanced financing for things. We don't need that. The octopus will be from here directly. I'm not quite sure when. I'm sorry, I know. Without wanting to exaggerate things or to ask for you know, we're staggering under the workload here. I'm sorry. There are a couple of things happening in the future that are coming up that not to tease about, but just to sort of semi-discuss. Yamamoto-kun, the boy who did this for us, he delivered this by hand last night. He came here, and after I'm finished this in a few minutes, what I'm going to be doing is something else. We've got another print here. Many of you have seen this before. Many of you have it. It's in our shop. It's one of our normal things. I'll also be embossing this with a name in a few minutes. I won't be embossing it with Kubota-san. I'll be embossing it with Yamamoto-san's name himself, because he's moonlighting these days. Moonlighting for us. He's working for us during the day in his capacity as a young apprentice in the Kubota workshop. And he's burning midnight oil. He's working for us in the evenings in a personal capacity. So he did that Heron print for us, and I'll be putting his name on it because that's something he's doing at home by himself. And the idea is, Kubota-san himself is 70-something, 70, I don't know, getting near 80, you know, actually. And he isn't going to be running a workshop too much longer. So young Yamamoto-san, who's been working there with him, is starting to think about his future. Need I say more? How does this is an interesting question. I know we're doing an embossing here. I'm just pressing a shape into a piece of paper. And the question is, how does it stay on the paper for years on years on years without getting flat again? That's a good question. Absolutely. And in fact, let's do this. Let's answer that with an example. Hang on a sec. Let me go and get one from 150 years ago that has an embossing on it, and let's see what it looks like. Excuse me a minute. I can see this is going to be a really scrappy stream today, but who cares? Stuff to talk about. cares? Who cares? Who cares? Jacques, if you're still there this morning, tonight, I got a print here. You've seen this print before. When you were visiting here, we got a batch of prints from Wedesan, you might remember. And you and John Amos and whoever else was here flipped through them and you thought it was okay, it's okay, but nothing special, nothing special. There were some dynamite prints in that package. I've kept a few for myself. Here we go. This is, I don't have a year on this. This will be about, who is this? This is, anyway, here we go. This is from somewhere I'm going to guess 1860. I don't know yet, actually. I haven't researched it. Print from about 1860. It's a kind of example. We have a bunch of prints like this in our shop. And it's embossed with a Nuno Mezuri embossing. Not a deep embossing like we did with the guy's name here, but an embossing to make it look like it's printed on fabric. Let me try and get the angle here. With this camera. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I'm going to try it up on the camera itself. No way. Is it showing? Is it showing, or are you going to have to just take my word for it? Whatever, I guess. You can see it, you can see it. Somebody can see it. You can see it sometimes. So. No, this would have been printed with a cloth, absolutely. They cut the shape on the wood, glued some cloth. They put it on with a what do you call it? Amayani, I forget the name. A rosin, like a tree rosin. Put it on there. And the rosin stuck it on, and it also gave the cloth a hard texture. And they rubbed the paper over that stuff. And this is at least 150 years old, maybe more. So it's okay. It's okay. I know the thing I'm doing right now with this little lettering, it's going to be there long after I'm dead. After everybody watching this is gone, this embossing will still be here on this paper. Let me get back to it. I got to get this done, you know. This is something else we're particularly insistent on, these names. That print I just showed you, it had the designer's name on it. And I think some of them from back there, occasionally they have the name of the carver's workshop on there. Yeah, the carver's workshop name is here as well. Actually, I can't read the first character. It's a bit of a strange character. I don't know what it is. But the carver's workshop, either they just put it on by themselves or it was put on by the publisher. We're not really quite sure why, because it meant nothing to the consumers. They didn't go around looking for who would have carved it. The consumers looking for the actor and stuff like that. This one here, it's Hori. It could be Cho or Naga. So I don't know the name of the workshop, Naga Nani Nagasaka or something. Who knows? Whatever. But Hori Naga is carved on there. But never, ever would you see the names of the printers. But for us, we want both on there. The carver and the printer is going on here together. On any print that's large enough. We can't do it with our postcard size print. There's just not enough real estate, enough room to put that stuff on. But any print that's got the physical space for it, we want the craftsman's name on it. And he said, there's no publisher's name. There's no Mokuhankan mark here. we're prioritizing the craftsman. Is it showing there? Yeah, Hokusai wasn't a craftsman. Hokusai was a designer. Eh? And I think when he was very, very young, he worked for a while in a carver's workshop. I hear. I'm not really sure about that. But Hokusai, the great wave tour, he's the designer. He had nothing to do. He never touched those pieces of paper, of course. Nothing to do with that stuff. Those worlds were totally separate, you know. The designers would never have even met the craftsman. Nothing to do with them. Move into the 20th century and someone like Hasui, he turned in his design to the Watanabe company. Then once some carving was done, Hasui was back into the workshop and he sat there next to the printer, Ono-san, doing test printing. Hasui's directing, no, put a bit more blue in, no, make it a bit lighter. And Ono-san is doing the physical work. So in the 20th century, you have designers and printers talking to each other and getting things going. But back in the old days, the designers never met the craftsman. Impossible. They just turn in the design and get out of there. I'm using a Murasaki button. We were talking about this over on the fan page the other day. One of the people on the fan pages made his own baron, and very much like a copy, or very, very much based on Goto-san's Murasaki buttons. And the Murasakis are really, really hard. They're sometimes a bit too dangerous for us to use. The cord he's used is so hard that it can leave scratch marks in the image. But the other side is it just doesn't give up. What if Jed's going to drop in today? Why don't the pigments run when you moisten the paper to put the embossing on? Well, I'm only moistening it slightly, but actually it doesn't matter. If I took this sheet of paper right now and dipped it into a tray of warm water, put it under water, the pigments won't run. I can pull it up, do anything like we do that sometimes. We re-moisten the paper to put an extra color on or something. This print, I just showed you, this print from back in the late Edo period. If I took this now and dipped this in water or brushed water over top of it, nothing's going to run. It just doesn't do that. Once these pigments have been printed onto these sheets, that's it. They're in there forever and ever. In the Meiji period, they started using for a while some horrible purple and red aniline dyes. And those things run like crazy. So I'm not telling you can take any wood bar print and put it in water. There are some Meiji era prints that will run and blot all over the place. But normal, typical prints of an ukiyo-e style with the typical pigments we use, printed in a normal way, they don't run at all. Nothing. We buy stuff at auctions, and some of it's been pasted into albums and things like that. I got a stack of them waiting in my room, waiting for processing. And the way we get them off that is we just put them in a bath, put them in a warm bath, And the glue that they were pasted into the album with just dissolves slowly on the print itself. We lift it off, dry it, and bang, it's just like new. I guess I'm missing questions here. This stuff's going by so fast, I'm sorry. I'm also glad to be finally caught up, even temporarily, caught up with the owls. The batch I did yesterday, they're gone. We sent them out of here last night. What time is it now? It's 8:30. About an hour from now, 9:30, they'll be arriving at the Ome workshop. It's so cool living in Japan, you know. You can send a package Sunday afternoon and it'll arrive anywhere in the country Monday morning. Eat your heart out. But it's great. Those prints will be packaged this morning. The packaging materials are all waiting for them. She's ready for me, of course. And they'll be on their way this afternoon. So we're finally, again, caught up with the owl orders. Although, I know what's going to happen a few days from now. She's going to call me again and say, Dave, the owl that we've done, it's called a mimizuku in Japanese. Japan has, they categorize things in a little bit different way. Fukuro is the generic word for owl, but that particular type, the one that we showed in that picture, is called a mimizuku. I wouldn't know, but just simply that's what it is. But I don't think I can reach him, the batch. There's a leftover few from my batches over there. This last batch turned out quite nice, you know. I got a sort of a semi-confession. I haven't been very careful about keeping all those owls very consistent. I've just done them batch by batch by batch. And I used a different kind of pigment for the last one that we did. I used a pigment called Shin. And it's got a very, very pleasant bluish tone. I mixed a lot of sumi inside it. If I can reach it without banging everything out of place here. Let's see. How far can I stretch? Excuse me. Ready to go. Got it. Here's one from last night's batch. It's one of the reject ones, actually. All the good ones have gone. Oops, too much bright light. I think this camera's not giving us good color. This isn't the true color because the white balance is not set very well. This is going to be too dark. Yeah, it's not going to show it. Anyway, that's the one. That's from the last batch. I used the Shimbashi blue rather than the indigo that we used for the previous ones. I kind of like it. This one's rejected. I can't quite see why. I don't remember. Something's wrong. Oh yeah. Background's too mottled. One of the early ones in the run. Anyway, just sidetracked here. Yeah, right. Right, I shouldn't show it, should I? We'll hear the order bell ring in a minute. What is Dave doing right now? I'm doing the embossing on a finished batch of prints. Every print we do gets the name on it, the name of the craftsman who worked on it. And I've got a little slug of characters here which say carver David Bull, printer Kubota Kenichi. And we're embossing them. If I can try and find the... I don't know if I had it before, I don't remember how to do it. As you can see somewhere here, the lettering gets embossed onto the print. There's a few left in this batch, and then I'll switch. We'll see how I set this up. My name here, it's done in katakana. The whole, it's, keeping the Japanese feeling of this print. And also, when you're doing it vertically, there's no real good way to write English vertically here. So we've kept this in Japanese. There's a kanji for carver, hori. Then my name in katakana, Buru, my last name. Then the kanji for printer, suri. And then Kubota Kenichi. So it's a bit funny when you read it. It says, Hori Buru Suri Kubota Kenichi, which kind of sounds like we're just insulting Sue. And absolutely, if I ever do become Japanese, take citizenship, not on the cards now, but if I ever do decide to do that, that's absolutely got to be the name I choose. You have to choose a Japanese name in kanji. And that's going to be my name, Horiburu. There's no way around it. How are you doing, sir? Pleased to meet you. Here's my meishi. What's your name? Horiburu. It's just too rich. And when I die, the world will be crying, Horiburu is dead. Oh my God, I got to do this. I got to take citizenship before I die, just so to get that joke running. This was the joke, my mother joked about this for years and years and years when we were kids. I have a brother, and we should have been called Hori and Terry. And she could say, here's my two children, terrible and horrible. Oh well. And a bull is a common English name, and I wonder if anybody really names their kid Terry. Are there any kids called Terry Bull? Would anybody do that to their kid? Okay, now, what we've got here. Let me get sidetracked a little bit. When I ordered the print from the Kubota-san workshop, I ordered it, I forget, we got, 80 copies, I think, for the first batch. And there's 80 of them, just like this, with normal. They're going to be trimmed a little bit, ready to go out. But we also ordered what we call some wide ones. Those of you who have been following our Kickstarter campaign and stuff, these haven't even been opened yet. We've got a batch of these prints with a wider margin. And that's because after I put the name in, we're going to bind some of these into book form. Now, in the first Kickstarter campaign, not the first Kickstarter campaign, the Kickstarter campaign a few months ago, we offered as an item in that campaign a bound book of the first 10 prints in the ukiyo-e series. It's the Mario Kart, the Fox Moon, blah, 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 the first 10. Doesn't include this one. This is in the next group. But we asked our printers to make some prints with a wider part so that when the time comes, we can bind these into a book, page turn, page turn, page turn. So I've got some prints here. These are now going to be reserved for the next book we make, the second volume in those series. Now, but before I do that, just the same thing again and again and again for the next half an hour. Now this print is not going in the Kickstarter book that's coming right now. The Kickstarter book coming, the 10 prints, doesn't include this one. This is going to be in the next book. Don't panic, don't panic. Volume 2, I have no idea when Volume 2 is going to be ready. Call me in a couple of years. But as we are printing these new prints, the new Boss Fight prints and these prints, we are also printing up some with a wide, so we'll be ready to make the second book, bang, as soon as we've got 10 prints to fit in it. Anyway, no, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. Put that aside, so I'm not just doing the same work for you again and again and again. I'm going to go back to this one. This is the one Yamamoto-san made for us just now, and he's going to get his name on it. And as it's not going to be Kubota. I'm going to put it on the same board here, and we're going to rub it here. Maybe I should turn it around. Turn the board around. Put it here. And I haven't mounted this yet. What I've got here waiting now is a sheet of these embossing. Now it's going to be hard to show you here. What's it called in English? Polymer plate, I think, is the English word. We did a layout in Illustrator of all the different little... These are the captions, actually, for the next year's subscription print. You're not going to be able to see this so well. It's just a polymer plate. And what I've got is a bunch of these things. You're looking at it from the back side, so you're seeing the real. And there's more. There's Horibul, Suri, Ohashi. We've got combinations of all our different carvers. There's 4 carvers working for us now. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 printers. So we've made these up with the combination of the 4 carvers' names and the 8 printers' names. And in here somewhere right now, there it is. There's the one I'm going to use today. Carving by David Bull, printing by Yamamoto-san. So I've got to cut this one out of here. Change glasses, which means I can't see the stream at all. That's a new noise I've never heard before. Sorry about that, headphone users. I didn't know it was going to be happening. I couldn't have warned you. Hey, tonight. So what we got to do now is let's get a layout worked out here. Let's use one of the junk prints. He's got some, in the batch, there were some that didn't make it. He's cut the corner off. He thinks they're junk. They may be, they may not be. We'll see. Don't see what's wrong with that one. Let's pick a really button. Well, okay, the warm-up print's just nothing, just a blank piece of paper here. Okay, what we're going to do... Where's my double-sided tape here? I should tape this down first, and then I'll try to get it upside down, Dave. Can't get this straight. Height 3. Okay, looks good. Height. So we ignore you there. Then it's going to go somewhere here. Let's do a test. I'm not sure about this, you know. This print, actually, the way we made it originally had very narrow margins, bottom and side. And up to now, we haven't been putting the names on. We've been sending it out in a form just like this, with very narrow margins all around. But if I put his name on the side of it now, it means we have to make the print with a bigger margin on one side than on the other side. And it looks kind of strange. I could put the embossing inside the print, but there's no way. It's too invasive. It's too big and too invasive. I think I'm going to have to rethink this, you know. I might have to rethink this. He may have to do without his name on these. And I love the bird. It's a poem. It talks about the white heron. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't read the old Japanese. It's not modern Japanese. It's archaic. I don't know. I'm sorry. But I think this looks a bit strange. It's nice having his name on there, but it's a bit strange now. The print being a bit unbalanced. So I think I'm going to back off here. I don't think I'm going to do this. Now that I think about it a bit more carefully. I told him I was going to put his name on them, but I don't really think I can do that. If we recut the blocks to put a wider kento, we could recut the kento on the blocks, move it back if there's room on the piece of wood. Then we could print them on wider paper and put this name in. But I think the way it is now, I think we better just stick with the way it's been. So I'm going to shelve that. Let me put that back away. I'm going to shelve that for now. Rather than spoil them all. Let's shelve that and go back to finishing what I started. So sorry for the diversion there, the digression. I thought I was going to be able to do that, but not so. I don't want to screw up here. So. Let's just go back to what I was doing and get this job finished. Okay, back to work, sorry. Okay, there we go. This we can do. And I think I ignored, there was a question there that I ignored a minute ago. Where's the question box? Oh, 2 questions in a box, sorry. It's an interesting question. It's about the blocks. Do I have a block in front of me here? I don't have a block to demonstrate with, whatever. Somebody's asking about, the areas when we've done our carving, there's areas around that we scoop out with chisels. And he's asking, could they be sandpapered smooth? And I guess so. For us, chisels are fast and efficient. If I'm sanding in here, I think I have danger of banging the edge of the wood. So I myself wouldn't really try using sandpaper. The chisels for me are the efficient tool. But it doesn't matter. The important point for us is that the bottom should be relatively smooth, so that when we are rubbing pigment over the block, if there's roughness in the bottom, it picks up pigment and the pigment builds up and up and up and starts to hit the prints. So we ourselves don't use sandpaper, but whatever, there's no rules. If it suits you, give it a try. And the other question was, oh boy, big question. Powder pigments. This should be a question for when I have a printing bench in front of me. He's asking how to stop the pigments and the water from separating. Most of the pigments we use, we've ground them up in a wet form with water, and then we keep them in sort of a paste, so they're wet with water. And then when we use them, we scoop them into a bowl, put water in to make them the consistency we use, and then dab them on the block. And the gentleman asking the question here says that when his prints are sitting in the bowl, quite frequently they precipitate out. Just the powder goes to the bottom of the water and you get nothing but clear water up on top. And we do have a few that seem to do that. I know in general, we use them in a thicker format than that. It sounds like you're using them very, very, very thin to make a extremely like thin, very, very delicate color. And what you can do is in your pigment bowl, you can, at that point, you can put a bit of paste, if you like, into your pigment bowl. We normally keep them separate. Paste is here, pigments are separate. But if you're finding it's too much precipitating out, you can put a little dab of paste into the pigment bowl, mix them together, and that helps it stay as a single liquid instead of separating out. Well, most of the pigments we use don't do that, so I'm not quite sure what you've got. I have bought powder pigments, but some of them sink to the bottom of the bowl and do not mix with water or alcohol. Most of ours don't do that, unless when they're really, 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 really thin. But as I said, try if you like mixing a bit of paste into it. The other thing, it actually doesn't really matter when you're printing. When you've got your pigment in the bowl, if it's settled out, just mix, dab onto the block, do your paste, mix them up with the brush, and then print. And even if it's precipitated out while you're waiting, just mix them back up at the moment of printing. Not sure, we don't find it a problem. Here we go. I used to have these tickers running all the time, but I got comments from a number of people that they come to this stream to relax, and that constant ticker running at the bottom it disturbs that relaxation. So I started keeping them turned off, but I guess I shall pop it up now and then just for information purposes, kind of. Somebody was asking, I saw a minute ago back in the stream here, somebody was asking what the calligraphy says here. I don't remember, I'm sorry. But I know where you can find out. Oh, here's Cameron. If you go to Jed's website on ukiyo-e-heroes.com, he has got the Jicle version, the inkjet version of this print up on his website already. And on that page it explains what the calligraphy means. And then later this afternoon, I think, once he's clearly understood that these are now ready, he'll be opening the woodblock version as well, I think. We've got a visitor here just coming in the back door here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cameron-san. How you doing?
Good. I think I've chosen the wrong train to take every day.
Hey, another one. Wow.
30 minutes this time. I tried to come early. What do I get? Delays.
Another late slip from Cameron. I think you're forging these, you know. I know you were mucking around with the new computer and the printer up there.
Yep,
you know.
and so I've just started printing them out.
You know.
Oh, you caught me.
It says Asakusa stamped here. You got the girls to make a woodblock print for this. Is that...
Yeah, you caught me.
Really? Is this what technical trouble? Because this is
time
really,
it says
really,
an
really
accident.
unusual.
It says Shario Jiko, so like vehicle accident. Right, not a personal
They
one.
won't tell you.
Yeah, they usually do say bodily injury if there's a bodily injury, but this time it says vehicle accident. So
really, this is really unusual.
Really unusual. It's, I mean, 3 in 3 weeks.
The Chuo line where I came from.
Right.
That's the one. That's Suicide Alley.
Yeah.
You know, so not every morning, but many mornings. Mm-hmm. Is that what's happening here? Are they not telling you?
Not telling. Just delays.
Without knowing any details, my suspicion will be that perhaps that's what's growing here. It's the end of the year.
Yeah.
This is when a lot of that stuff happens. People running into debts and everything else. So this is a peak season for jumpers.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's what's happening. So.
It's too bad. I hope not. I hope it's just some technical difficulty.
But Cameron, just be straight with me. If you're having too much trouble with getting this organized, don't jump, okay?
Okay.
Don't jump, I know. It's not
No
that much.
No.
I shouldn't laugh about that stuff, but it's at the end of the year. It is, I think, in March at the end of the financial year,
the financial year.
and December at the end of the fiscal year. So.
Yeah. So would you like me to sit in today?
Yeah,
or head upstairs?
sure. Because I know
Better?
The upstairs job. I got the email stuff up and running. We now have but it's running double. So I want to talk to you before you actually jump in. So.
Do any double work yet? Get the systems jumbled. Okay.
Another order? Sure. Let me get the stuff out of the way. There's some prints in here.
Be careful with the...
There's...
Where?
Oh, anywhere.
Over here.
Just so much stuff, Can you put this up there too? I'm sorry.
Sure. How are these ones looking?
They're fabulous. Fabulous.
Good.
I really...
That's what I want to hear.
I rejected that first group a few months ago, and I was like, should I have done that? They'd be okay. Nobody would notice if we send them out, blah, blah, blah. But I'm really glad, because these are just so much better.
Good.
So much better.
It's always nice to hear.
Actually, there's newer people here who probably haven't heard that story, so... So it says, Cameron, don't jump. They'll have to write another apology ticket, so somebody else.
Sad. Okay. Oh, cheery topic to jump in on.
Yeah, sorry about it. That I shouldn't have even brought it up, but it is a thing at this time of year. So,
Yeah.
So. I don't know, the thing about there's people in this area. We've got the two batches.
Oh, you've got the other ones
This
too?
is the reject ones. So,
Okay.
just so you know yourself, that was the reject ones, and these are the real ones. And you can see it's the shadow. Just they made the boy so dirty and mucky.
Oh, he's really, really dark
So,
there.
and then there's the new one. It's just the normal.
Wow, what a difference.
So. And also the print, look, the tone is smoother on the tunic.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then on the ground. It's totally, absolutely my mistake. I should have just asked them to do first, or gone with them. I should have spent one day, gone over there, and did a test printing together.
Yeah.
And I would have caught this stuff right away. I trusted them.
You're right.
But it's not a question of trust. They didn't know what we wanted.
Right.
They just had Jed's Photoshop, which looks okay, but the Photoshop layering doesn't work the same as the woodblock print layering.
Right.
Anyway, let me get back to this. So.
Yeah, sure. Good morning. What does Cameron do at Mokuhankan? Exclamation point, Cameron. Then the bot exclamation.
What does it say?
Cameron is Mokuhankan's new manager since around October. He's the guy who always pops up an hour into the stream if his train is not late. Today it was, and then it still came in about an hour in.
But it's calling you the manager. Is that what you think you are? I'm not so sure.
I'm not so sure either, but thank you, Dead Steve. You like my shirt.
If you're the manager, how come there's so much crap around my desk?
Oh no.
So,